Hello, hello, how are you all? Things have been very hectic here, but in a really, really nice way. We've been able to shift our work allocations to be able to do what each of us want to do. And I've been working hard on my Melissa book, and I'm starting to see like there might be an end in sight. But more excitingly, I want to tell you that Gergely has managed to do what I have been asking him for years to do, and that is to get an English version out of his Hungarian wonderful aromatherapy magazine called Aromatica. And I'm going to put you a link here, because if ever there is something that you want to get, trust me, I know I'm very biased, but it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And I always loved writing for Gergely's magazine more than anybody else's. That's how we became such good friends, because no matter what I wrote, the end result looked magnificent. And so I would get this one beautifully transcribed version of my article through each quarter. Either beautiful fonts and lovely illustrations, and I always looked so gorgeous, because I only saw that one, because everything else is in Hungarian and I didn't understand it, because trust me, Hungarian is one hell of a difficult language to get hold of. But now I can tell you that this month he has done the whole of the edition in English. And so I can tell you that it's 2,400 forints. And if you thought Hungarian language was difficult to get hold of, the money is impossible. So I'm going to tell you that in American dollars, and you can pay in American dollars, it's $7.99. And in English money, proper money, it's £6.30 for this month's edition. And it's completely all digital, but when you download it, it becomes as a PDF, so you can print it off and have it all to hand. So I wanted to tell you some of the amazing things that are in here. And first up, I would love to tell you that there's so many people I'm proud of, because there's so many of my friends in there who have come together to support him to be able to do this. Because between you and I won't want you to look at a pity story, but his massage business took a massive crunch. So this freed up time, but also passion for him to be able to do this. And I was really proud to see everybody rally round and say, yeah, let's get this off the ground, because it is a masterpiece of work that he does each quarter. So I thought I'd tell you some of the people that are in there who have contributed. And I'm not sure if I told you, it's 124 pages long. So it's really good value for the money that you do. And so the first thing that you come to is one of my dearest friends, Jan Kashmirek. He has done this beautiful monograph about conifers as a group, and how they affect us, the psyche, generally. It's beautiful, and the picture that opens is lovely. And between you and I thought it was a beehive, this picture of the comb that they've done, but when you look closer you can see it's really beautiful close-up of a cone. And then Jade Shoots has submitted one of her lovely monographs. Her monographs will go on sale as a big set later this year, is my understanding. But she submitted Bergamot for us to read, and it's lovely. And then the next person in the magazine is a name that I did not know, but she has written the most beautiful work. Now, it turns out that Jasmine Buse is a graduate of Jade's school, and so she's, as far as I know, she hasn't had anything published before, but trust me, when you see this article you'll think, well, she'll get a few more from that, I can tell you. So she's done this lovely article about Japanese aromatherapy, its history, how it's developed, and its aromas. And whilst I haven't read, I'll be honest, I haven't read much of it. I've flicked through all the different things and gone to my friends mainly first. But there's a beautiful graph in there that she's taken from a study where a gentleman was interested about perhaps why aromatherapy is not taking off as fast in Japan. And he'd compared how people like Japanese aromas in comparison to their equivalent American, etc. aromas. It's really interesting to read. And there's some lovely old illustrations of pledges that disciples have made of their medical teachers to say they will not release secrets and stuff. It's really, really beautiful. Well done, Jasmine. Well done. And then another name I didn't know, but this is a Hungarian lady, Dr. Camilla Aus. And I'm sorry, Camilla, I hope I've said your name right. And she is a research scientist. And so where there's not huge concentrations of science in the magazine, it's more on aromatherapy rather than clinical, if that makes sense. She has done a beautiful scientific piece about ginger, all aspects of ginger, the extracts, the essential oil, etc., etc. Really, really interesting. And then one of Gergely's, I would say Gergely's other best friend is Ildiko Beres. And I met Ildiko when I was in Budapest. And if there is somebody who is most definitely a fairy, it is she. She must be a fairy. She's so pretty. And have you read her writing? It's magnificent. And she's done a lovely piece about marjoram and about how she distills it, and she's put reclaim your calm and strength. So I'm really looking forward to that, because she's a Hungarian lady, but she lives on Crete, and she spends a whole time distilling and learning from the master distillers, and she just is a very, very talented lady, and clearly not human in the nicest possible way. She is of another world, is Ildiko. So you will know that when you read it, you'll see what I mean. Just beautiful. She has the most magnificent control and command of the English language, even though it's not her language. It's better than mine. And then Gergely did a really interesting interview with I think his name's Joseph Toth, if I've said that right. Or Joseph Thoth, maybe. But he is a lavender farmer, and there's some, if nothing else, the pictures of his stills are magnificent, big copper alembics, and he talks about how lavender distilling has changed over the years. And I know that he and Gergely go and do quite a lot of distillations. I presume it's with Joseph that he does these. I don't know if it was this year or last year, he was telling me that there had been a big lavender farm that had been abandoned, perhaps from the university, if I remember rightly, but it was left to go wild, and they were going to distill that. So really interesting to see what he's got to say. And then obviously Gergely has not done all of this work on his own. There's a team of them. Ildiko is one of the teams, and another member is Gabrielle Schutz, who I really like. Gabrielle, she's a lovely lady, always smiling when you see her. But I've never read any of her work before, and I've really enjoyed 3 pieces that are in there by her. The first is an interview with a gentleman called Norbert Kiss, and I've met Norbert, and I've used his products extensively. He gave away some freebies of his hydrosols. He makes beautiful hydrosols, hydrolats, out of all manner of different plants. And I bought, and Gergely grabbed me a load and said, here you go, have some of these. And I got a yarrow one and a nettle one. And I brought them home and thought they were lovely and put them away and kind of forgot about them, if I'm honest. But then Dexter had the most horrific sunburn when he was doing his bicycle cycling proficiency badge when he went back to school. Was the couple of days after they'd gone back after the lockdown, and I think the instructor was so focused on making sure that they were distancing, he forgot all his usual stuff, and poor old Dex, he was really burnt. And he came out and he was like, just put something on it, put something on it. And I knew that it was bad, because normally he would just go, I'm not having that. So I put the nettle hydrosol on him. It hadn't been in the fridge or anything. It had just been in a cool cupboard. And he was just like, oh, I need some more of that. And he completely fell in love with Norbert's hydrosol. So Norbert, I hope that you read this or hear this, because he loves it. And since then we've used a lot of the different hydrosols and bought more, actually, because I'm not really somebody who's used hydrosols a lot, but got involved in using cucumber hydrosol, clary sage hydrosol. I've always used helichrysum hydrosol, and obviously floral waters from things like roses and stuff like that. But Norbert's work has really made me more interested in hydrosol. So I'm hoping you watch this, Norbert, and say thank you for that. And then there's a lady called Elaine Zimmerman. Now, I really like Elaine's work. I don't know her, I've not met her, but I do read it quite a lot. And she's done a really interesting piece about how fragrances interact with the ways that viruses envelope. So if you are worried about COVID and how the essential oils will interact, then Elaine's got a great piece for you to read. So all of that is quite theoretical, isn't it? And I like to get my teeth into the practical sides of aromatherapy. So here are some examples of what's in there. So Sue Mousley, I'm sure many of you know, she's a really great friend of mine. She and I have been friends, I have to say, probably nearly 30 years now, which is terrifying. And she's the lady that does the pregnancy aromatherapy. And she spoke in Budapest about mental health and the emotions, and she's written a piece in here too for that, which is really interesting, talking about how the emotions will really affect the development of the baby, and how you can use fragrances to be able to I suppose insure against any difficulties as much as one can insure, to keep the baby and mum as safe as possible. Then there's a gentleman called John Tay, who Gergely said, you know, your friend John. I was like, I can't remember who that is at all. So I'm sorry, John, but I do like your work. I do like the piece you've written about your mom. He's written a lovely piece about using the essential oils for his mom during her palliative care. It's a really sensitive piece and beautifully written. And between you and I, John, you need to get in touch with me, because I think that you must be an incredibly nice man, what you've written in here. Really nice. So thank you for writing that for him. And of course, my big friend, Debbie Atterby. She's big in friendship, not in size. Sorry, Deb. Who incidentally, yesterday morning, I woke up and she'd sent me a picture. And I was like, what's that? It's an alpaca. No, she'd sent me a kangaroo on her garden, which made my day. So thanks, Deb. And she's written this beautiful piece about how she treats people in her practice for anxiety using essential oils. And that as a topic always fascinates me, because it's a simple word, anxiety, and we write anti-anxiety or anxiolytic against essential oils a bit as if it's an action that does not count. But if somebody has anxiety, it controls their entire life. So I'm always really fascinated to read how other people have treated anxiety, because it's what we can make the most difference in people's lives, I think. And then Jonathan Benavides. Now, Jonathan and I sat next to each other when we went to Kathy Skipper and Florian Bertmeyer's workshop about alchemical aromatherapy, the alchemy of the soul. And Jonathan knows too many secrets of my soul for me ever to say anything bad against him, but I couldn't think of anything bad to say about him. Anyway, such a nice man. And he's very interested and works with people who are dying, which I always have a lot of respect for people who can do that, because I know that I could not. And he's written an article called Decomposition, an Act of Letting Go, and it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Later on, I'll tell you about Felicity Warner's piece, and she and he always write the most beautiful things, along with Madeline, about palliative care. I am in awe of their strength, and so I always try to read anything that they write, because I know that I really don't think I'll ever have the strength to be able to use it. It's just not my place. I am not a priestess of death. But I have the ultimate respect, and I do think every time I read something written by either of those, I learn extraordinary amounts about compassion, about life generally, you know, about how to be a good person, and about aromatherapy and what it can do, because I can't imagine I will ever want to test those aspects. Except I hope that those two are at my bedside, and Madeline, the three of them, at the end, and actually Marika. That would be my super team. So Laura Cantel, I like Laura. We don't have huge amounts of conversations with her, but whenever I do, somehow we get onto gin. Now, sorry, Laura. That's an indictment, if ever there was one, wasn't there? But she has written a lovely piece about understanding the challenges of working with a child of autism. And since I have a child who is on the spectrum, and one of my best friends has quite a profoundly autistic child, useful, insightful, and it made me smile. It really made me smile. Thanks, Laura. I think it's a really important piece of work, because people throw essential oils at autistic children, autistic people, saying that they want them to be calmed, but actually they're oversensitive to fragrance. So it's interesting to see the interactions and how they work. Then I've put me, but so I've done an article. Obviously, I was made to. I actually did say, you've got enough, you don't need me. And he was like, no, you've got to. So because lots of people were asking me about the cards and how I'd managed to write the cards and how I had managed to commune with the plants in the way, I've written a piece about connecting with nature, whether you find that interesting or not. And then Felicity. Felicity has done a piece about sacred oils for transitions and for challenges. And I don't know if you're like me, I always look every month and I think, these are the courses that I want to do. I can't afford to do any of them. So I'm doing a couple at the moment. I'm not revealing which way they are, but I'm telling you, Felicity, I'm coming your way soon, because I definitely want to learn how to use myrrh on the level that you do. So, but Felicity's work's beautiful. Then there is the magazine's broken down into sections. So there's applications, practice, oils, and then there's a section called Seventh Sense. And Seventh Sense is about the more subtle stuff of aromatherapy. And Marika Fleury has written about her experiences of going through COVID-19 a week after she opened her clinic, and devastation struck, really, and it shook Marika to the core. I was watching her posts each day and she was really struggling, and so I was really fascinated to see how she helped herself with the essential oils. And I love the way that she talks about the oils as if they're people like I do. I'm going to give a bit of a spoiler, because she wrote a lovely piece saying that just before they went into lockdown, she went to visit a statue of St. Francis of Assisi. And it was such a cool and calm and placid place. And there was a sign saying that St. Francis had gone into isolation for 40 days and for 40 nights. And she'd looked and she said, gosh, that must have been really lovely. I'd love to be able to do that one day and see how it feels to be spiritually isolated for that time. She said, little did I know. And then she's very honest with that. She says, you know, be careful what you wish for, because she doesn't enjoy it at all. And her partner in the adventure, her business partner, is a lady called Lorraine Spiteri, who is also one of my students who's learning about to be a pain practitioner with me. So I'm so proud. I'm so proud of you, Lorraine, to see her lovely article called Finding My Way, it's called, just about learning to be different in this lifetime now, and what that means to her. It's really interesting. And then I don't know how Gergely did it, because he said, do you think that Dr. Bruce would write? I said, good luck getting hold of him, because he's notoriously difficult to get hold of him, and I really love Bruce's work, and I think he's the nicest person. But I didn't think that he'd get an answer back. Not only did he get an answer back, but Dr. Bruce Bukowski sent him an article too, which I'm envious of. So this is going to be the first thing I read when I put this down. It's about juniper and the archetype of juniper, and he says, and Cowboy Jack. So I can't do any spoilers because I haven't read it. I'm saving it. I love his work. I absolutely love his work. And then I talked about Gabriella. Gabriella is the co-creator with Gergely on the Aromatica. And she's done, as well as her interview with Norbert, she's done 2 articles. One says, if myrrh essential oil could talk. I'm looking forward to reading that, Gabriella. And then she's done an article about a carrier oil that I've never even heard of. She says she calls it the undiscovered beauty oil. It's Kukui. I think that's how you say it. Kukui. So many things to read, so many things to learn. The silent one's going to get no sense out of me this weekend. I'm just going to be penciling and highlighting. And what I will tell you is, I will break confidence to tell you that I did help Gergely with a little bit of the English in the foreword. But mostly it's entirely his translations. And I love that it stayed very Hungarian. And what I mean by that is it is written in English and it's perfect English and it's beautiful, but sometimes the syntax sounds exactly the way they say it when the Hungarians say it. So for example, he always says anyways at the end of a sentence, anyways, and anyways has stayed, and it's absolutely charming and I love it, and I hope he doesn't think that's patronizing, because I think it's made it such a beautiful adventure to read it. So Gergely, I love you and I am so proud of you, and if you know what's good for you, all of you, download your copy now.